Why don't we start this time with why don't we start with you, Jerry? How about sports, organized or pickup?
When I was at Schmool School, at recess rest time, we would play baseball in the Smith's pasture where Gatto's and all those places are at. That was a pasture at the time. And we would go over there and play ball. And we also played Annie over, and we throw the ball over the schoolhouse roof, Annie
Yeah.
over.
Andy, I over.
Yes.
One of the girls
yeah.
mentioned that
Yeah.
on their panel.
Yeah, and that's about it. Because we didn't have sports in school. I mean, it was just us guys getting together and playing ball. You know, I was pitching for a while, but I guess that's probably why we didn't get very far.
Oh,
So,
Yeah.
but we had fun.
well, Alan, you were involved in sports, weren't you, at Lincoln Way?
Yes, I was involved in sports a long time ago in Frankfort because there was our baseball diamond at that point in Frankfort was down at the end of Oak Street, where basically where Paul Lombrick's house is.
Okay.
Pacific and Oak. It was a softball, and they played men's fast pitch softball there. The Kratzenbergs were there, the Aders boys, Whitendorf, Marv Whitendorf, Russell, Colegan. They were great ball players. They really were. And we were young, and when they would hit a foul ball down there, over the trees or whatever, we of course would grab it and hightail it down the street. So that's how we got our baseballs to play with.
Oh, I hear you.
Any rate, when they decided to subdivide that area, Paul started building his house there. Well, we still used the ballpark, us 10, 11, 12-year-olds. And he built his house, was left field, unfortunately. So what we did is we said that anybody that hit a ball and it hit Paul's roof when they were building the house was a home run.
Oh,
Now Miss Lankenau comes back into the picture. One day, and of course Paul was a relative of Miss Lankenau.
Nephew.
Huh?
He's a nephew.
The first thing she said that morning was, I understand some of you young men have been smacking balls off Mr. Lombrick's roof. And of course, nobody fessed up to that one. Really, was that right? Well, I wanted to stop. And of course, that's all that was necessary.
Oh.
We didn't play ball there anymore because we were afraid of Miss Lankenau's wrath in terms of, if one more ball hit their roof, it was over, we thought. So that was my beginning of sports in Frankfort. Then Wendell Morrison organized the first Little League team here in Frankfort. All we had is enough players for one team that were of the right age to play, which was between 8 and 12. We only had, there were 13 kids that could actually hold a bat and throw a ball. And they formed a league called the Wilco League, and Frankfort played, and we played against Tinley Park, Manhattan, Beecher, Madison, Piatone. I can't remember, that's about it. It was called the Wilco League, and we ended up winning the championship that year. We played Tinley Park in a 2-out-of-3 World Series.
wow.
Covered by a newspaper. And so that was fun because it was nowadays, of course, one team. And that's back when the population was only 550 or something. And so that's how baseball got started. Terry Schrader and I went out. The main park was built then.
Okay.
So we went play out there. And Terry Schrader and I would take our lawnmowers out and cut the outfield grass before every Little League game because we wanted it to look
Right.
cool, you know.
Right.
You want it to look nice. And so that was my start in baseball in Frankfort, and went on to play at Lincoln Way and actually pitched the first game Lincoln Way ever won.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Oh.
but you
Did
know,
you play
that
shortstop for him too?
When I wasn't pitching, I played shortstop. Yeah,
Because like I alluded to before,
So,
I've seen you play
anyway.
shortstop. I know how good you were at that.
that's my sporting life in Frankfurt.
Okay. How about it, Happy? Sports for you?
Well, guys, make a big change in my life. I was more active in basketball in Frankfurt than I was in baseball. In basketball, we had no gym. We played at the Woodman Hall. It was on Ash Street, on the east side of the street, just north a little bit of Nebraska. If you're going to the east basket, you were underneath the balcony. In order to shoot to the hoop, you had to get out there and then shoot.
Oh.
Because the people that was watching the game, they were sitting on top of you.
Okay.
On top. The year that I left Frankfurt School here and headed toward Joliet for high school, that's the year that they started building the gym, if I'm right. 38 and 39. Because I was just wondering, why couldn't they do that while I wasn't in school? So I'm quite sure I got the number pretty close there. 38, 39 is when the gym was built here. I never played in that gym, but
Was that gym an addition to the already existing
Oh, yes,
building?
yes.
Okay, so it was like an add-on, just like
Yeah.
it is today, right? Okay.
right. You have an idea when it was built?
What's that, man?
The gym here at the school, Frankfurt School, 38 and 39 is when the gym was built. The year that I left, I thought that's funny that we're playing in Woodman Hall and all of a sudden I leave, now they build them a gym. So I never,
Wasn't the gym built in 1938?
38, 39,
Oh,
somewhere
yeah.
in
Echoing.
there. Yes.
Yeah.
My dad talks about hitting his head on that balcony playing basketball there.
Yeah, well, your dad was tall enough.
Yeah.
Right.
He always talked, he said, complaining, coming home, he hit my head 2 or 3 times a game.
Well, see, there's a lot of sports out at Woodman Hall. I got to add just a little bit. Our former mayor here, Glenn Warning, who went through school with me, one night in 1936, they held a big deal here for Al Landon. He's running against Roosevelt that time.
Yep.
So elderly people was at Woodman Hall for the rally. The rest of us kids, so known as them days, was up here by Ida Parhamy and so on and so forth. And shortly before Glenn passed away, I was down to see him at his home there. And one thing and the other, and Glenn did climb the water tower.
He did?
He
did.
says, Happy, do you know why I climbed that water tower? I says, no, what? It was for an ice cream cone. Somebody bought him an ice cream cone, he couldn't do it. So that was Glenn's sport at that time. But Glenn was quite a sport. Him and Paul Lambert were quite the leaders in the sports in Frankfurt at that time.
And where was the ice cream? Right across the street, right?
Priami's.
Priami's, right?
yeah.
Right across the street from the water tower, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
so good memories.
yeah, I'll say. How about
John,
it, Ralph?
here's something that most people have long forgotten, but apparently during the 40s, St. Peter's Church built a tennis court on the south side of the building there.
That's where I learned to play tennis.
Yeah, and I remember that during the mid-50s, as teenagers, we used to go up there and play tennis in the summertime and that, and have a great time.
Yeah.
It's the only tennis court around
It
that
was.
anybody had a chance to use, but we used it a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
And that was built by the church.
Yeah,
Yeah, just south side of the church.
yeah, it was on the south side there.
And they didn't care. I mean, you didn't have to belong to the church. Anybody could play on that court that wanted to?
Yeah.
Cool.
There were no fences around it.
No?
Not too many people either.
Did you play tennis there?
No, I
Oh,
didn't.
you did?
No. I was going to the Methodist church when I was with my folks on the farm in New Lenox.
Does bowling count?
Sure.
Do you
Yeah.
remember when the bowling alley was built? Well,
I used to set pins there.
so did I. I set
Yeah.
pins there for a dime a game.
Now, is that the same bowling alley that exists today?
It
Same.
sure is.
Well, I
Probably
think,
the same bowling balls there.
yeah.
And shoes.
Well,
They-
isn't
So,
it, isn't
Al,
that
did
famous?
you set singles?
Yeah.
Did you ever set doubles?
Yes?
Uh-huh. Did you ever set triples?
No.
It's a challenge.
No.
There was a Saturday afternoon league going up there, and Netus Wilson was the fellow that ran the bowling alley, and he, for some reason, couldn't get enough boys to set pins. And there was a girl from Lincoln Estates
What?
that would set pins occasionally,
Wow.
and she set 3 lanes, and I set 3
Oh
lanes.
my God. That's
Oh,
very
Well,
good.
you
I'm
talk
impressed.
about going, yeah.
I have a kind of a cute story about that bowling alley when we were setting pins. If certain bowlers threw a ball very hard, sometimes as you're sitting up there, you'd get a pin on your shin, or ankle.
Oh, yeah.
If it happened too often, you could really get mad. And,
That was, excuse me.
David Zeklin, you all may remember Dave Zeklin?
Oh,
Yes.
You know Dave, was setting pins and he got hit like 3 times running. And so that was it. He had it. Took the ball and behind the pins, there was a window behind the pins back there. He took the ball and flipped it right through that window out onto, I don't know if it hit White Street or not, but and if you go by there today, you'll see where that window was bricked in.
They did that for Dave?
Huh?
They did that because of Dave?
My guess is rather than put new windows in there forever, yeah.
Now, that bowling alley, we need to let all the viewers know, is on the second floor.
Yes, there's not too many around.
No, I've heard that it's the last one in Illinois on the second
It
floor.
probably is,
Yeah.
probably is, yeah.
Huh?
I remember, well, I've set pins, but I did it in New Lenox.
Yeah.
And like, he's talking about pins flying all over, boy, you really had to be careful. There was one guy from New Lenox, Dale Drake. He would roll that ball so fast and their pins were flying all over. You really had to be careful.
You know who was one of the fastest bowlers, the ball fast, was George Kratzenberg.
Oh, yeah.
George Jr.
George Jr.
He
But he was a big, he could
He was big.
he could hit a softball about a quarter of a mile.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
he's
he
a
was a
big
good
man.
ball player.
And he still looks like could
Yeah.
play.
He does.
What did we get paid for setting pins, Al?
Huh?
Do you remember? What we get paid for setting pins?
Now, I got a dime a dime.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Dime
$10 a line.
Dime a line,
Yeah.
A line being a game
right.
per
Yeah.
per
10
person.
cents for a whole game? You'd want them guys to throw the balls fast. You need more games in. Wouldn't you?